As you are no doubt aware, January 20th, 2025, that's Inauguration Day, is coming fast. We have about 45 days before our government gets caught up in a tidal wave of authoritarian caused chaos. Democrats have two choices here. We can stand together, or we can get overwhelmed by and swept away by all of it. President Biden's recent pardon of his son Hunter has already started to show us which camp certain people belong to. Check out this clip.
I know that there was a real strong sentiment and wanting to protect Hunter Biden from unfair prosecution, but this is going to be used against us when we're fighting the misuses that are coming from the Trump administration.
There's so much wrong with that analysis. I don't even know where to start, but let's keep it simple. Donald Trump doesn't need anybody's permission to go after anybody. He's been promising he's going to go after his so-called enemies for years now. And he and Kash Patel have made it clear that they would specifically be going after Hunter Biden. So the pearl clutching from the left is just a sign that some of us just aren't ready for the fight ahead. We've shown this tweet before, but that's because it's true. Strident Strider tweeted the following. If people cannot see Biden pardoning his son Hunter as meeting the moment, then they are the ones out of touch, not Biden. The double standards are outrageous. Do they not see the lawlessness that is coming? That is exactly what President Biden did. He didn't lie about not wanting to use the pardon power for Hunter. He changed his mind because he's paying attention to what's going on. He didn't pardon Hunter because he's his son. He did it because he knows that the incoming regime is out for blood. They are not going to hold back from wielding their power in order to create a government that exists to serve one man and acts on his agenda of seeking retribution and vengeance. But while President Biden tries to prepare for the storm, Senate Democrats keep struggling to find common ground and a way forward through what will be a very, very difficult 4 years. They're going to be in the minority in less than 7 weeks. And with Donald's return looming, they really need to get their acts together. But before we dive into what should be on its way out, like, I don't know, bipartisanship, please like and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's free. Okay, so let's take a look at the old guard. Let's face it, this sort of uproar within the party has been coming from a very particular section of Democrats. The old guard has been just screaming about every perceived misstep from the larger Democratic Party, right? First up, we have Senator Bernie Sanders. He's the longest running independent in congressional history, but he caucuses with the Democratic Party, right? He ran as a candidate for the presidency as a Democrat, essentially. Well, Sanders has been slamming the party since the election. He may think that he's edgy and outside of things, but he's part of the old guard, voicing his very specific concerns, which, by the way, have to do with the Harris campaign's failure to address white working class concerns. It's total bullshit. And he's completely falling down on the job when it comes to collaborating and standing strong in the face of the incoming enemy. So Sanders' approach is the same as it's always been. Call out, blame, shame, act like the victim. It's the same strategy, but is it effective anymore in this new dangerous landscape we're traversing? This isn't 2016. This isn't even 2020. Donald has had years to plan, and he's had a team planning along with him. And he's going to be coming back with no guardrails in place and nothing left to prove because, if you'll remember, he's going to be a lame duck presidency, which means he doesn't have to cater to anybody. We don't need senators like Sanders piling on when a very real and dangerous right wing avalanche is heading our way. And then we've got Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Dick Durbin. To various degrees, these have been more or less effective leaders. I contend that Nancy Pelosi has been the greatest Speaker of the House in American history. But these are classic old guard leaders. Pelosi's battles with Donald were legendary, but is she still playing by the same rules? Some Democrats worry that this strategy is not going to cut it this time.
Nancy, let me just be clear. I'm going to say it. She ain't going to say it. Nancy Pelosi, everybody talks about how the Speaker Emerita, she's so strategic. She can count. And yes, she did all of that when she was the Speaker in Congress. But my question is, where is your calculator now? Because Democrats are about to lose the dang on House. And for her to sit on this podcast, we'll play the sound about how, it's up to the, I don't deal in presidential politics, but she helped orchestrate. I'm going to say it.
This cycle.
She played in presidential politics this cycle, and she helped orchestrate the very public demise of the president.
Schumer is trying to hold the line. He's pushing back against Donald's unvetted nominations, and he's doing a good job pushing through confirmations of judges. But he's doing so by acting within past precedents and emphasizing bipartisanship and due process, hoping that incoming Majority Leader John Thune will do the same. But we know that that is very, very unlikely. So why is Schumer even pretending to play ball with these people? And Dick Durbin, well, I guess he's fighting the good fight, but he's ineffectual and has been for a long time as majority whip and head of judiciary. But according to Axios, Democratic senators wonder if he has what it takes to engage the way the Trump administration will need to be engaged with. And thus far, I do not see that he has what it takes to fight the kind of fight Democrats need to fight. So the old guard is sticking to its old ways, but we have a whole new battle on our hands. And it doesn't seem like most of these people, not just that they're not up for it, but they don't even understand the threat that Donald and the entirety of the Republican Party, including their colleagues in the Senate and the House of Representatives, pose. So let's take a look at the new guard. There's a clear indication that some people are stepping up to be the leading edge of the kind of change we need. They're trying to forge a different path because they know that this is not just another term like Donald's first term. So we've got Hakeem Jeffries, who is leading the charge as House Minority Leader. He's going to continue in that role in 2025 and hopefully will be Majority Leader in 2026. But we have a lot to do before then. And he's shown that he's focused on uniting Democrats whilst being very, very clear-eyed about who we're dealing with.
Did you lie to the American people? Are you really focused on solving problems for the American people? Are you really focused on lowering costs, addressing the high cost of living? Are you really focused on housing prices? Apparently not. Are you really focused on grocery prices? Apparently not. Are you focused as Republicans on building a healthy economy? Apparently you are not. And we will not hesitate to call that out.
Jeffries knows that if Democrats want to win back the House in 2026, they need a new strategy. They no more getting distracted by the chaos that Donald thrives on. No more bullshit outcry against things like Biden's exercising his pardon power. As a matter of fact, he's been encouraging President Biden to use the power he's been given. After Biden's recent pardon of his son, Jeffries called for similar mercy for working class Americans in federal prison, stating that Biden should, quote, exercise the high level of compassion he has consistently demonstrated throughout his life, including towards his son, unquote, towards those facing unjustly aggressive prosecutions for nonviolent offenses. Jeffries also wants Biden to use his pardon power to undo the persecution of Americans who have been unjustly persecuted in our divisive legal system. And then there's Jasmine Crockett, an up-and-comer who is a fighter through and through. I don't know if you remember this, but one of the few highlights of this year was when Marjorie Greene insulted Jasmine Crockett during a hearing in the House, and Representative Crockett did not hold back.
Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
I'm trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike those
words. I had no idea what
words.
you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about it.
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at
Oh boy. I mean, first of all, Congressman Raskin's reaction there was worth its weight in gold. But Crockett, we need more of her. She's passionate, she's fearless, and she has a knack for calling out the hypocrisy of the GOP in a way few others can. This is really important at a time when we can't just roll over and be complacent. We have to stay informed, but we have to focus on what really matters. And we need to stop playing their game and put them on the defensive. And part of that is just reminding the American people how vicious, mean, and incompetent people like Marjorie Greene and Donald Trump are. Which brings us to the aforementioned Jamie Raskin. He's stepping up, and he has led the push to replace older committee leaders like Jerry Nadler with younger voices. This is how he put it, quote, House Democrats must stand in the breach to defend the principles and institutions of constitutional democracy. That is our historic assignment right now. Because of this, Nadler voluntarily stepped down from his top spot on the Judiciary Committee. Don't get me wrong. Jerry Nadler is a fine public servant who has done this country proud, but we need the kind of energy and constitutional expertise and, quite honestly, willing to get down in the mud and fight with the opposition that Jamie Raskin represents. Nadler knows this. He endorsed Raskin to replace him. So the new guard understands that the old methods just aren't working. They're focused on finding solutions, not just reacting to the chaos. So where do we go from here? The old guard continues to stick to familiar, failed strategies, but the new guard recognizes that we are in a new world here. Biden's pardon of Hunter shows how serious the threat is. I promise you, there are no other circumstances under which Joseph Biden would have pardoned his son if he weren't in real fear that Kash Patel and Donald Trump would go after Hunter. Democrats need to stop the internal blame game and focus on the real threats. Robert Reich puts this into perspective. Watch this clip.
Democrats need to tell Americans why their pay has been lousy for decades and their jobs less secure, and who is to blame. It's not because of immigrants, the LGBTQ community, people of color, the deep state, or any other MAGA scapegoat. It's because of the power of large corporations and the rich to rig the market and siphon off most of the economy's gains. The Democratic Party should use this inflection point to become an anti-establishment party, ready to shake up the system on behalf of the vast majority of Americans. This is, and must be, the lesson of the 2024 election.
Word, as the kids say. Look, circumstances have changed. The Democratic Party has to change as well. We need to become not just the anti-establishment party, but the party of opposition. The stakes are higher than they've ever been. Yes, the future of our party depends on it, but so does the future of democracy, because remember, the only major party that gives a shit about democracy is the Democratic one. Hey, everybody. In case you weren't aware, I am spectacularly bad at self-promotion. So here it goes. Please subscribe to our channel and like and share our videos. Your support means so much to all of us. Thank you.